All right, we're live.
And good morning, welcome. I'm calling the meeting to order at 9:31. I would like to thank our 3 guests today. We appreciate you guys coming to our meeting. We have a lot to go over today, being that it's getting towards the end of the school year and we need to finalize all of our plans for the end of the year. Katya will be going over the minutes from last month.
Just last month, not last week. Our meeting last month was on February 9th, and that was an evening meeting held in the Slatington cafeteria. We reviewed our minutes from January. Rebecca gave the treasurer's report that had an ending balance of $39,409.42. Anyone who wants to see those can always just reach out. We have them all on file. Yeah, and they should be on the website. I don't know that anyone uses our website, but all the things are there. Our old business at that time, School Resource Officer Appreciation Day, they had received their gifts. We discussed paint night, which ended up being held February 3rd after being rescheduled for inclement weather. About 25 people attended that. It was a success, and we will most likely hold an event like that again in the future. Our 3rd and 4th grade social was also a success. We plan on doing that again if possible. We will make some small adjustments to things since that was the first time we did it. Iron out a few hiccups, but in general, it seemed to be a good time and everyone enjoyed it. Our new business last month, school counselor and bus driver appreciation days were scheduled for February 7th and 22nd respectively. Kristen was going to get a total of the employees for the buses to figure out how much we need to provide for them. And then they were going to get their usual baskets or breakfast or things that we've given everyone in the past. The Winter Wonderland dance was rescheduled for February 11th. That was also due to inclement weather. We're going to start giving up on scheduling things. We also reviewed the rules with everyone for drop-off and pickup to hopefully avoid some of the issues that have been had in the past with long wait times. There was a request for a few additional volunteers due to the change in date. Science night was scheduled for February 25th. There was also a request for 3 more volunteers there. We discussed the tentative dates for Gertrude Hawk, which were to start the fundraiser on February 12th and have it go through March 7th. With a pickup date during the week of April 4th. There was discussion on whether or not to shorten the amount of time to have it for only 2 weeks. But through public comments on Facebook that requested us to keep the 3 weeks, we decided to use our tentative dates and not change that. And Amber was going to try to get a solid pickup date nailed down for April 6th. There was discussion of volunteers. Board members expressed concern with the lack of general involvement with the PTO this year and the difficult position it puts the board in. Due to a lack of participation, it forces the board members to make all the decisions without public feedback or input. We did emphasize our appreciation for those members who consistently give their time to our events, and we also asked for more involvement in event planning. Elections for board positions were announced, that the flyers would be going home so that volunteers would be available for the March meeting. Those volunteers and or nominees will then be officially entered as candidates and would campaign until elections in May, assuming that there is a need to have a campaign. Book bingo was scheduled for March 4th, and the decision had been made to not order from Scholastic for multiple reasons, including shipping delays that have been happening with Scholastic and the cost. We made a request to the community for donations of gently used books. Our open discussion, the board requested feedback from families and students regarding the 3rd and 4th grade social, and Rebecca reminded everybody that there's a link for feedback for all activities and events that we host on our website if people wanted to use that. And the bounce house for field days. Typically, the PTO provides a bounce house for the field days at both schools. A request was made to the community for any recommendations, and so that we would be able to compare prices with the company we used previously since there's been a whole year off. That was it. The meeting was adjourned by Amber, and here we are today.
Thank you. Next up will be Rebecca with the treasurer's report.
Hello, everybody. So we didn't have a lot of expenses this month, just things to cover the activities that we had. We had a total of, let me find it, $648.88 in our community events total, so that would have been our book bingo. We had a total of $134.51 for events at Peters, so that would have been what we've spent so far for the Winter Wonderland dance. We still had a couple receipts left over from the 3rd and 4th grade social. We wrote a check for Lehigh Valley Zoo for 2nd grade field trip for $575. We also had a request for reimbursement from Ms. Stubitz for the February Tech Award out of our Chevy Gives Back donation. We had bus driver appreciation, which we spent $86.98. That was a little bit more than what we spent last year, but as everybody knows, the price of food is going up and kind of unavoidable. We also had $6.36 in our Google domain fee for the month, and we spent $49.79 on copier paper for our event flyers. So in all, our starting total was $39,409.42. We had $1,517.20 in income. We spent $1,653.64 for an ending balance as of yesterday of $39,272.98.
And that's it. Thank you. All right, up next is the agenda. I will go over old business first. We had our school counselor appreciation week. Both counselors got a gift basket from us. Bus driver appreciation, they got all of their beverages provided by us and the condiments that go with that. Next was our 5th and 6th grade winter dance. As of now, Slatington Elementary will not be having any form of dance. The PTO and the principal have decided that there was a lot of issues this year and in the past, and that at this time we will not be having any dances at elementary level for Slatington. That does not go for Peters. Peters is having their dance this month. We'll see how that goes. If everything goes well, we'll still continue to have dances there. I would like to substitute something for the winter dance, maybe something immediately after school like we did for 3rd and 4th. We would have to do it, even for 3rd and 4th, we would have to break the grades. It was way too many kids in a small space. So for next year and coming years, it would be like each grade level would have a special activity immediately after school. The dances are just too out of hand for our volunteers and the PTO to continue to do. That's not saying in 5 years, you know, we might come back to it and say, hey, let's have dances, because things have changed with our, let's just say society, I guess would be the word. We know the volunteers were there this year, but it's just never a good turnout at these dances. Robin's looking at me like, what am I missing? There's just lots of issues.
It's just ongoing behavioral issues every single year with the dances. And behavioral issues to a point where it puts the safety of all the students there in jeopardy. And as a PTO, I am the board, the rest of the board, we're not comfortable with people being uncomfortable, people being unsafe, and that's not what we're here to do.
Right.
So
And-
unfortunately, there are some students who are unable to act accordingly in a setting like that, and it has ruined it for everybody.
Right. It's a shame that 10 out of, we had 220 kids there, and I'm not saying 10, I'm just throwing that number out, but 10 kids ruined it for 220 kids. It's just, it's out of control, and not that it's out of control, it's not the word I want to use, it's just,
It's
out of our
unacceptable.
hands.
Yep.
So, I can't personally do it, and I can't expect my board to go through what we went through. And it's not even just the students, the parents also. It's disrespectful and we can't. So, we could look, like I said, look into doing something immediately after school, but as of now, there will be no dances at Slatington. If anyone has any questions or concerns or problems with that, you can gladly reach out to one of us members or,
Natasha Shimko responded, I don't think it was out of hate.
well, it was.
There
It
were
wasn't out of hand, it was just,
there
I
were
think
things
there
that
was
were
a
not
lot of
necessarily
things, right, that weren't-
publicized to everyone that was there that were going on.
Right.
And this isn't just this year. We were hoping that we could bring back the dance with positive behavior and positive outcomes, and unfortunately, it's back to the same behavior that was an issue back in 2020 and 2019, and
that's it.
taking we had one in.
It was 2019 was the last time we had it.
2019 was last time we had it.
We didn't do the
Of the 1920 school year.
right, but didn't it happen in January?
No.
Oh, well, anyway. We took a year off hoping that it would, change the outcome of
She
the
said
behavior.
Only pickup was heavy.
Freak, that was.
I feel like there's things that you might have missed that happened that,
Right.
yeah, there were things.
Alright, so moving on, we had our science night. We had a tremendous turnout for that. Next time, I would just recommend, having more help. Also spreading out the activities throughout the whole cafeteria, which I understand you didn't have enough volunteers, it was difficult, but the setup with the space walkthrough was amazing, I loved that. And I would just suggest if we can get more volunteers to have a couple more activities. But otherwise, the science,
Things can only happen
Right.
if we get
The
volunteers,
volunteers.
because we had posts put out, we had,
yeah, we didn't call it, we just posted it and did verbal.
yeah, we didn't get, I got one interest and then I got told they work anyway.
I mean, well, in the beginning of the year, the social media posts had been sufficient for getting enough volunteers for things. I don't know if social media participation in general has just died down, or if because we typically make phone calls for the holiday shops, if then that led everybody to believe we're gonna make phone calls again for everything. That's something we can look into as a board too, is how we recruit our volunteers, and maybe streamline the whole process. But usually this time of year is when we don't struggle for volunteers, because it's kind of the lull between sporting seasons. So it was a little unusual that we didn't have more help, but we'll do what we can.
Peter's dance was scheduled and now it's rescheduled. It will be next Friday, March 18th. It still will be held at Peter's Gym, from 6 to 8. We do have a couple of tickets still available. If anyone changed their mind, is now available on March 18th to attend the dance. Just let us know.
Amber,
Yes.
do we still need a non-Peters parent to help?
It would be nice, but it's not necessary. I mean,
Yeah, we need somebody to help us man the front door.
right.
And stuff like that. We would prefer it not to be a Peters parent, because it means that instead of having fun with their kid, they have to sit out front and make sure that the doors, are open and the kids aren't running up and down
Does
the
it have
hall.
to be an adult?
Yes.
Over 18, I prefer. I mean, 16, I would be okay with,
He's
but
not
has.
there, he's 15. If
I
he's
think
16
I would
in 2
even
months.
have if I didn't get anyone, just have my daughter sit there, because I don't know what else to do. Because unfortunately, all of us
All of us
are
have
Peter's
kids.
parents, and then Kristen is not, but she's in charge of the photo booth.
Well, and we try to
So-
keep our high school volunteers usually with an adult,
Yeah.
just so they don't get put into any situation that they might not be comfortable in and not know how to handle that. We try to not leave them all by themselves somewhere.
So yeah,
They just
and-
have to hold the door. They
No, you just literally all you can do is sit at the table. You can play on your phone. You could do whatever. It's just sitting there for 2 hours, give or take. Just making sure, like, if like Joe Schmo goes out to the car, that Joe Schmo comes like that. He's not letting other people in, like that aren't supposed to be there.
Or that he didn't drop off his
Yeah,
kid
he
and go
didn't drop
home.
off his kid.
Like that he comes
people
back.
aren't running around in the halls.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't be because
I'll
the
get
parents,
parents.
the parents are to be, are required to be there with the students, so there should be no running in the halls, but just
We always
supervise.
have that one sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, so, that's what we're looking for Peters.
My wheels are.
Like, I mean, even, the dance is from 6 to 8, even if you show up at like 6:30 to 7:30, I mean, we'll be winding down. I mean, as long as we can enjoy a little bit of time with our students inside the dance would be appreciative. If not, I mean, we'll just have to take turns.
Yeah, once we're set up, I can always, they can use my phone and I can sit there if we need
Yeah.
that.
So that's that. Next up is Gertrude Hawk. That was due on Monday. I did have, and all the stragglers I said had to be in by today. As of this morning, we did phenomenal on this fundraiser. I was unsure of how it was gonna play out when I picked up on Monday, but the numbers are really looking good. I will have a final count, obviously, for next meeting. And like Patty said, I am shooting to have the pick up Wednesday night during our board meeting.
It doesn't have to be in my driveway.
Yeah.
You will not be picking up your
Then I will
Gertrude
be
Hawk in my
here
driveway
at
this year.
Slavington Out back.
Well, we're gonna invite them in though, right? We're not
Yes.
gonna stand
Yes,
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
inside because we also
Yeah.
have the PTO meeting
Right.
that same night.
Right.
So you're invited to stay,
Um,
hang out.
Next up is book bingo. We had that last Friday. We had a decent turnout. It was nothing like the one in spring, but we still had a very good group of people come out. And I appreciate everyone who donated our books. We got quite a few from the community. And I would also like to thank the 2 high schoolers from the National Honor Society who came over to help us out that night.
Yes, they were great.
Yes. And Ms. Mendez was our teacher who came out that night to help us too. She's always a trip with writing our numbers down. So thank you for everyone who came out that night. Up next is new business. Oh wait, I'm sorry, one more thing. Board positions. Board positions are open. As of right now, I do have one person who submitted for either secretary or treasurer. If anyone else is interested, all of our board positions are up for re-election this year.
Anyone, any parent or guardian of a Slavington or Peters student is eligible for any of the board positions except president. President must be somebody who has served at least 1 term on the board previously. But so any of you here today, any of you out there, you are all automatically
So,
members.
Technically, I read in the bylaws, if no one on the board, current board, is willing to step up as president and the current president is not wanting to resign, anyone is available for president's position.
Okay,
According to
so
the bylaws.
if anyone really wants to be president, you are technically eligible then as well. But so if it's something you've been thinking about, really don't hesitate. We're not actually all just going to leave here. It just means that our positions are up for re-election, and we won't be insulted if somebody wants to run against us. That's how you keep a healthy and functioning organization and board. But we're not going to be like, oh, we're all done here. Like 5 new people, have at it.
Right.
I like to think we have a pretty good time together.
And I do have one other, I was gonna bring it up during open discussion, but how do you guys feel about during kindergarten registration, having the board member position at the, registration, like, cause they have like a display of papers that, like, for sports and library and stuff like that, and Kathy did ask me if there's anything we wanted to put out, and I was like, no, we're okay, and then I was thinking about it, I mean,
I
it's
suggest-
just,
I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
it's just a flyer that went home,
I mean, there's no harm
I
in
have
doing
some
it.
extras,
Yeah.
and I thought maybe we could just put them out at kindergarten
Yeah.
registration.
There's no harm in doing it. Anyone with an incoming
Is there
kindergartner is
anything
eligible.
else that you feel we should put out for kindergarten registration
Ooh.
besides this?
Can I put out directory stuff for next year? Like, I know it's going in kindergarten. Can I put next year's directory paper out?
I mean, in theory, you can. You're gonna get duplicates though, because they're gonna
Yeah,
fill
'cause
it
I
out
would
again
just-
with
I
the
would
beginning
just
of the
wait
school
when
year
they-
stuff.
They fill it out.
Can we let them know? Like, I feel like we could get more people involved.
Maybe we
this
could.
year.
Maybe we could have a flyer that just says what the PTO does. Are you like?
Oh, we still have that.
Like I know that we typically do like the presentation at kindergarten
Right.
orientation.
Orientation.
But maybe just like a little flyer that.
Maybe that like bullet thing that's
Yeah.
just, you know, the circle thing, but the
Yeah.
Yeah.
handout, we can put that out.
Okay.
Just like letting people know what we do. And yes, anyone with an incoming kindergartner is eligible to run for any of these board positions. So if you've kind of been, I know some of you out there have been following us for a little while. If you are now, you are now eligible if you are interested.
Okay.
When do you need to know who is running? Because kindergarten registration is at the very end of this
Right,
month
so April is, you get nominated,
in April.
and then May is the election.
So I would just recommend if you're gonna put out a paper to put on there that deadline as well as like an invite to here's the next couple meetings if you wanna come
Yeah.
and attend. Because if there's a new parent, you know, they might wanna come to the April board meeting, you know, and see what it's like and then give in, you know, something like that.
I can
Yeah.
update it to include that. That's not
That's a good
problem.
idea.
Perfect. Alright, next up is new business. We don't have a huge amount of like physical activities for the community, it's mainly in-house. We do have our Easter egg hunt coming up on April 2nd. That is open to the whole community. It will be held at 10 a.m. at the middle school field hockey field. In case of rain or inclement weather, it will be inside the middle school gym. We will have, so this is where I need some advice. I said this is gonna be a cooperative meeting. So I was looking at doing it by age groups. So the field hockey field is rather large. I
Yes.
figured we could take like have a rectangle and then make another rectangle inside and then have two age groups. So once, let's say 0 to 2 would go, and then over here would be 2 to 4. So as soon as they're done, we would have volunteers refilling that egg lot while they're finding the eggs on this side. How
So
does people feel
if-
about
if the
that?
field hockey field is lined, which it probably isn't, but they are doing spring field hockey, so it might be lined, in which case it would make this very easy. Because there's a giant grassy border all around the field
Right.
hockey field anyway, and we can just divide it at the 50-yard line.
Right.
If it's not lined, it'll be a little bit more
I
challenging.
think we still have those stakes. They're in the closet, correct, upstairs
Up
at
in what?
Peters. Remember from the
Fall Fest.
Fall Fest?
The
Did
Wicker
we
stuff.
put those
Yes.
stakes?
They're
And-
either in the closet at Peters
They're
or we
definitely
put it
not
all in the
downstairs.
basement.
They're not downstairs. I know.
I
that
didn't
for
take them home,
I
so
think
they
they're
should be
in
at Peters.
They're in that closet. I think we could just use those stakes to kind of stake out if the line
Yeah.
isn't there.
We don't have line paint, do we?
No, and line paint got expensive.
Oh.
At the NOIA meeting last month, they discussed the cost of line paint because apparently everything's going up, not just gas. I would
Could
think,
you just stage it by age group?
So that's
Yeah.
that's
Then
what
it takes
yeah.
a minute, and then the next age group can go for a minute, and then the next age group can go. That way you don't have to divide anything up, but the little kids get more
What-
of a chance.
yeah, it would just speed it up if we did one age
Well,
group
we
on each
have-
half.
So
We have prizes.
we're gonna
for
have
each
prize.
age
We're
group.
gonna do prize eggs. So I was thinking, this is just a suggestion, and anyone can disagree with me, of doing an age group of 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 7 to 8, and then 8 and above. That would give us 5 age groups, or we can limit it to 4 age groups and do 4 and like 0 to 4.
I would do 0 to 4. I honestly don't know how many really
I know, that's-
little kids there's gonna
Yeah.
be. And then I would do kind of like K through 2, basically, like 5 through 7 or 8.
I say 7. So we were talking about this, and I'm thinking of some of our, like, second graders that we have at Peters are, like, they're bigger. And then we have these tiny little kindergartners, and I feel like putting them together, like, I don't know, second grade's boasty, and they're just,
Well, do we want to do 5 and under, which is a common like?
Like I said,
Divider.
I just threw out numbers. I'm fine with whatever.
I just like
need to have.
the problem is we haven't had one of these in a while, and I'm not. Typically, your biggest turnout is like the early elementary grades and
Yeah.
stuff like this. So, like the older age group could be a larger span.
I mean, we could even do 0 to 4, 5 to 6 instead of
5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and then do like 9 through 11 or how?
nine,
Yeah.
9 and above.
Yeah. Because I mean, like as they get older, you get fewer kids, and
I
they
mean,
they,
I highly doubt
they can
we're-
handle some elbows at that
I
age,
highly doubt
right?
we're gonna have many 6th graders show up, but if they do, I mean, I want them to have the opportunity.
Right.
You know, a 6th grader may come with their 1st grade sister, brother, so they,
Right.
but sometimes they're, too cool. All right, so we're gonna do 0 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 and above.
Yeah.
And then if there's, when do they normally, I mean, we need to have like, when do they normally, if they would line it, when would they line it?
That's a fabulous question. I mean, in the fall, we started practices without field lines.
All right, so we'll just
Even though the
plan
high
on
school
not-
and middle school were already practicing.
We'll just plan on there not being field lines, and then
Yeah.
if there is, we could just return the caution tape or whatever kind of tape we buy.
I mean, we may want to just use it anyway, like
Okay.
for like if we put it higher. Do you know what I mean? Like instead of laying it on
Right.
the ground, to kind of fence things off. I don't know,
That's what I was thinking of doing.
but yeah, I think
Okay.
caution tape is probably our best bet.
And then, at one of our meetings, we did talk about doing a balloon arch at the Easter egg hunts. I am okay with doing it, but I am not setting it up. So whoever wants to do the balloon arch and wants to be there at 8 o'clock to set it up, I mean, it's.
Everyone's looking at me.
It's you and Autumn who know how to do it. So my concern was if it's windy, all those balloons, when you're setting them up, are gonna be like,
Right. So
I
Can
do
we-
have access, girls, I'm not willing to help you, but
I know.
I do have access, you don't have to blow them up, we have a couple people who offered us machines.
ooh, that would be.
I know, but I'm just
But
saying.
So,
again,
okay,
I'm
here's the
not
thing. Can
offering
we-
setup.
Can we play it by ear? And if it's like really nice weather, do it.
Sure.
And if not,
But
not.
we can't really have to figure out the order of the balloons. I need to order them. I can't say on Wednesday
Yeah, 'cause
night
we
we're
need
gonna
the
do it and then
colors.
not have the
We need the
balloons.
cute little, like, pink and purple and yellow.
Is there outdoor water access at the school?
No, so we would also have to bring buckets of water.
Okay, we're not doing.
Okay.
I'm not hauling buckets of water at 8 a.m. from my house to the field hockey field. No.
Alright. Also, we do have in the basement 1,000 toy eggs, toy prize eggs.
Yes.
So we will have to order 1,000 candy filled eggs.
Do you have that info?
I looked at the Sunny Bunny website yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sunny Bunny.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah, I think it's
I took a picture of the
So-
box for you.
okay. I think it's Sunny Bunny.
I think so.
2,000 eggs should be plenty of eggs, correct?
I think so.
I think so, like 100 for 0 to 4.
And that fits in line with the budget too, just pricing things out yesterday. And especially now that we don't have to buy prize eggs or balloons.
Are we using the frisbees?
Yes.
Why
Are
was
we
that?
doing the golden egg?
Yeah, we're doing a golden egg
Well,
still.
we were gonna do like 3 gold, what it was.
Whatever, so 1, 2, 3. So
I
there's
was
4
thinking
age
3
groups,
per
so
group, right?
Wait, we have 4, sorry.
No, 4.
4 age groups.
0, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
I was just gonna do. What if we do like a candy bunny, like, you know what I mean, as the one prize, and then we could do like maybe a book for the other prize?
The golden eggs aren't going to actually be golden, are they?
They make golden eggs.
I know, but if you have one golden egg laying out there in the middle of a field,
Or we can
and
do-
you have 100 second graders who see that golden egg, I mean, we're looking at a
Or
rugby
we can
match
like
here.
where you just have the regular eggs and you just put a piece of paper in it
Exactly,
and
like
then-
where nobody
Okay.
knows which one it is. Like,
Okay.
I feel like if we have one golden egg out there in the middle of the field, it's going to end badly.
Each group, how many prizes do we want them to have? I was just gonna do one, but now Kristen's saying maybe
I thought we
three.
were doing 3. I thought we always did 3.
I don't remember. We've only done this one time, so that's why I'm
I feel
like,
like we did 3. We did a bunny, like a stuffed animal.
and like a boss.
It was, I forget what, and then we did the chocolate bunny.
Okay. So paper prize,
Are we ordering those from
And-
Gertrude Hawk?
and then 3 prizes, and we'll just.
What about just simply like we already said, a candy bunny and Easter book? Why not just do like sidewalk chalk, like a nice color?
Sidewalk chalk.
Yeah, this kid's outside again.
Everybody go back outside.
I have a whole beautiful trail behind my house, and I'd love to see all the kids color them.
Okay, and then that, I think, is everything that we needed to decide on Easter egg hunt. So we'll order the eggs,
Okay.
and then work on getting the prices. Also in April, we have Administration Day coming up on April 27th. And those are the only 2 things that we have going on in April besides the Gertrude Hawk pickup, which is week of April 4th. Upcoming events. May 3rd and 4th is Teacher Appreciation Day. This is where we would like some input from the community. Last year, we did Panera Bread and we did box lunches. So every teacher got an individual box with a sandwich or a salad, a cookie, a drink, and was there fruit? We had
Yeah, we did fruit too.
fruits.
Mhm.
It was kind of costly, but because of COVID, we had to do what we could to have this event happen. We definitely do not want to go back to doing the potluck. We would still like to have it catered for them. The teachers absolutely loved Panera last year.
Well, it guarantees us enough food.
Right.
The problem we consistently ran into with the potluck is not enough people volunteered to bring food, and then you're asking people to make double for both schools, and it just gets kind of complicated.
And then I remember the one year when Kim and I were still doing it together, she was running to Walmart buying stuff just because the PTO then hadn't paid for it, so, no matter what, so. I'm okay with doing Panera again this year because it was good, but I'd like to think of it outside the box of doing the box meals, like maybe having them cater it a different way, just to save on the budget.
Are we okay not doing a box lunch again this year and doing more of a buffet style principles?
I'm comfortable with that. I mean, there might be, my only thing would be, there are certainly, we're trying to give options, right?
Yeah,
So a lot
right.
of people are unmasked, but there are still people who have concerns. So, I would say that if you give the option of, having 5 or 6 of the boxed ones and then, platters where it's, to the best of the ability, individualized. Things like fruit are great because whether it's in an individualized bag or it's there for you to take what you wanted, it's still an individual thing. It's not like they're
Right.
scooping into somebody
Okay.
else's and people
Right.
sneeze it into a shared, bowl or something.
Yeah.
So, I'm comfortable with that, but I think there should be some kind of options for people that feel very uncomfortable with the idea of that sharing,
Okay.
just to have that as an option. But that should be able to
I
save
do
you some
see
money.
a lot of teachers are still going back to their classrooms to eat, they're not all still eating in the
Correct.
lounge, so,
Correct.
we do understand that, but we were just trying to think of the cost.
Yeah, we
Well,
kind of, we didn't want to quite, we did not want to, we paid $17 a person last year, and that included like the drinks, so it was everything for the
Or just
meal
go to
portion.
Applebee's and just take your meat
So-
after work.
Yeah, so we
$17 a person, holy moly.
do want to cut that down to like maybe $10 a person. So that's where a buffet comes in handy, but I think we can still get like some individual options for.
I think if they make like sandwich platters, so I'm thinking like it's probably more expensive with individualized boxes as well as probably just costs more to have them put all together, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
you order platter trays
Right.
where they're not putting sandwiches together, there's sandwiches that are made and here's the, the
Do we
soups that
have
are,
to order like drinks through Panera? I mean,
No, we
we
make
could
it-
generally save
Well,
a
we don't
big
have to-
chunk of cost there.
Yeah, and we don't have to go through Panera either.
Yeah, it could be anywhere.
It could be
'cause I even-
anywhere. It's
I even
just-
said like a local pizza shop does like, the sliders and like pasta bakes and stuff like that, but.
We did Panera last year because they were open in the morning,
Right,
because the first lunch here is at what,
Yeah,
10:20? Something like that.
10:30?
Something
Yeah,
insanely
so, yeah,
early.
so I
It's
needed to be able
brunch.
to get down there and bring it back, and they had a boxed option.
Right.
Like Ruby,
But that is that student lunch or staff lunch? 'Cause
Student
there is-
lunch.
I know it for Peters, there's a staff lunch
Yeah,
starts like a
right,
half hour earlier
10:50.
than student.
yeah. So either they were open, like Red Robin. Yeah, they offered boxed lunches, but there was no way I could pick up an order at 9:30 in the morning. So
Right, and Panera was the only one because they do breakfast.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a lot of places that do catering don't do it until lunch.
Sorry, Rebecca.
What?
We might be able to do Chick-fil-A this year because now that I know their hours are changing, I know you're not a fan, but it's also an option, because they do open for breakfast, so we might be able to look into them. Cause we wanted to do them last year, but
yeah,
because of
I
COVID,
do know they
didn't.
also they've added like some other options with their catering stuff
Yeah.
to be more COVID friendly.
Friendly.
So maybe we could look into that and see, do you guys offer like so many prepackaged just like sandwiches, but then also a tray of nuggets or something
Yeah.
like
I feel like that was a hit. Like when we were looking at the PTO, that national Facebook group,
Right.
that is a hit, and they are able to
Right.
help
Ellie
with that.
says Sal's has been really good with food for NOIAA events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sal's is very great with food. They're also very helpful with pricing and donations and all sorts of things, which I think we should definitely look into our local places too and see if somebody can accommodate the time we need. And maybe we get a combination of things.
And that's what we did try doing for last year. Like Rebecca and I had 3 restaurants picked out. We had everything we wanted for them, and then it came down to, okay, Olive Garden couldn't guarantee us a 10:30 pickup time.
Yeah.
Because we thought, Olive Garden would have been great because of the pasta, soup, and breadsticks, but
Right.
we couldn't get there and be back to school in time. So that's the biggest thing. So if anyone, we need to, this is something that by our next meeting, we need to have
Nailed down.
nailed
Because
down.
we need, when you're placing an order this large, like it needs to be placed in advance.
Right, and I'd like,
Especially if we're gonna go with somewhere local. If we went with somewhere like Chick-fil-A, I placed Panera order like
Right.
3 days before.
and if we do Panera and we end up doing the box lunches, I also would like to get feedback from the teachers on what they want to eat. Because I felt like whoever ate that last lunch
Yeah.
got slim pickings of
Yeah.
the good stuff.
We could do that regardless of where we pick from,
Right.
if we choose to go with
a variety.
yeah.
But if we're just doing the
We
basics.
can
That's
kind
really
of we can do it like a wedding RSVP.
Right.
Like
Yep.
select which one of these you want, and then that's how many we kind of order.
Correct.
So give them a list.
I think that's a good idea.
But like I said, we have to narrow it down definitely by our next meeting.
Alright, I'll
So,
work on it. Same thing with gifts too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm getting 4 different kinds of bags in from Positive Promotions for free. They send
Okay.
out free samples. It's like add to cart. So they should be coming, I hope, sometime next week. We can get them personalized. So that was just one idea. We're trying to stay in the $5 per person.
Right, so if anyone has
range.
any suggestions on gifts for the teachers, in the past, we did, school supplies, we did,
Clipboards,
a clipboard with
yeah.
a pen, we did, oven mitts with like a cookie. What else? Cause you know more than I.
Oh, I don't even know. I know. I think we named all the 4 that we did together.
So it's just something, for the teachers.
And according to all the PTO websites, teachers do not want mugs. Nobody wants another mug.
Next up, we are doing another fundraiser. It's one that we've never done before. I'm actually going to let Rebecca talk about it because it is her fundraiser. But it will be May 9th through the 13th, and it will be a penny wars.
Okay, so we're gonna change it up a little bit, huh? Oh, we're gonna change it up a little bit. Traditionally, a penny war is super competitive, and students sabotage other classes or grades, depending on how you do it. Collection containers, silver coins are worth a negative amount of points, and pennies and dollar bills are worth a positive. Given just the behavioral atmosphere that we've had this year, I want to completely eliminate that competition. We're not going to do a points-based system. There's not going to be any sabotaging. It is simply whichever grade brings in the most money gets a grade-wide prize. I was thinking an ice cream party, but that's just something that we have. So we're gonna run it for that week, the 9th through the 13th. My goal is to get every classroom a collection container of some kind, a recycled milk jug, orange juice container, like the big Simply Orange ones, or even like a Kool-Aid pitcher would work. Something that kids could easily carry, because each classroom also has a classroom messenger. They usually bring down the morning work or folder down to the office. They can bring, and I think there's usually 2. I know at least at Peters there's 2 kids that bring stuff down to the office. So one can carry the jug and one can carry the folders. And then having just a very large community collection bin, 5-gallon bucket, a great big Primo water jug, something like that, where it's sorted by grade. And then every day I'll pick it up, take it to the bank, have them count it, which they're doing for us at no cost. We don't have to roll anything. We can just turn in the loose coin.
Yay.
And then I can get each principal, each grade's total. They can announce it. We can make a big deal about it on Facebook. Principals can put it in their morning announcements that this grade has this much and they're in the running lead. And then we can announce the winner on Tuesday, because there's no school on Monday the 16th. So that was my goal.
And then the prize.
Oh yeah, the prize we're thinking about doing an ice cream party.
I have a
Or-
question. So
Yes.
is it are we competing kindergarten through 6th grade, or
We-
are we competing
No,
one
per
grade at
school.
school, one grade?
One grade at each school. So a winning grade at K through 2 and a winning grade at 3 through 6. Doing it by classroom was going to be way too complicated. It means a whole bunch of collection jars. It means 39 individual counting that the bank has to do instead of just 7.
Yeah.
So, and this is the first year that we're doing it, so I want it to be as streamlined as possible. And I think the kids will still get a kick out of it. I am also trying to avoid the word war, given our current climate. So I'm open to ideas for alternate names, like a spare change challenge or something like that. I just want to try to avoid the actual word war on the flyers that are going to go home, and like how we present it and advertise it, like on Facebook and to the parents and stuff. So if anybody has ideas, catchy puns, work in Bulldogs somehow or Northern Lehigh somehow, that would be cool.
Slatington makes the pups thing a little inappropriate,
Yeah.
but pennies for pups sounded so cute.
Yeah, I thought of that too.
But the Slatington kids are clearly no longer
No,
pups.
no. I was looking for Bulldogs and I couldn't think of anything. But spare change challenge was one I saw, and other people don't call it a penny war. They call it a coin challenge, or there was something else I saw online. They didn't call it. I don't remember. But yeah, we can come up with a different name for it. So if the principals have any monthly themes that month or weekly holidays, like we had Read Across America Week, maybe avoid Memorial Day because it fits right in with the whole war thing.
I mean,
So
the only thing that's going on that week is Mother's Day and Nurses Day.
what are we?
People did May-
Do we have like do we have this money earmarked for anything specific?
I want to use it to bump up our funding for the end of the year activities, like the bounce house. If there's anything else we wanted to throw in there special for the kids, that's what that's for. Just to bump it up. The money is there. We don't.
So it's gonna go towards like the field days, basically.
Field days,
so
yes.
let's see.
I feel like I wrote stuff down somewhere, but I don't remember where.
Just a thought, we can also tie it in differently. For instance, we're raising money, instead of making it penny wars or coin wars, we can also, almost like we did with the fund run, set goals, and if we reach certain goals at the school or combined, we can do things to absolutely demolish the principals.
You still need to do the one.
I was thinking we could do the ice cream.
People that didn't get taken.
We actually have a plan for it and everything, but then, somehow.
Somebody in here really likes to get pies in the face and.
But, I mean, like, like for instance, if we can K through 6 do this, so it'd be nice to find something that everybody can win something, where it's not like something, but, again, something like that. So you can think about that as well. So instead of basing around just the money aspect of it,
Right.
We're earning money towards field day challenge, and then if we earn, $5,000 in coins over, the week, whatever. I don't know what's a legitimate thing. I don't know, like.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a challenge with this because we've never done it before,
Yeah,
so we don't know what the
I told us
monetary
that our top
expectation
prize
would
is
be,
like
but
1,000.
Yeah, I would set a goal of like 1,000 or 1,500 just to start.
I was thinking K through 6.
yeah.
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 Okay. Like
Yeah, I'm not-
$1,500?
No.
Yeah, I'm not really.
I mean,
I
I'm
have-
also thinking like I'm horrible. I never have cash,
Yeah.
so
That's another problem.
I'm thinking of poor Colin's gonna be like begging me, and I'm gonna be like, hit up your own piggy bank, kid. Cause
So, okay, hold on.
We'll accept cash and checks too.
So what if we say, at the winning grade is going to get an ice cream party or whatever. In addition, if we exceed $1,500 with both schools, at field day, perhaps the principal gets to sit in the dunk tank, or the principal gets to. The principal. I mean, we can't duct tape you again because we still have to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Or the principal has to dress for field day, like wear your cleats and your sweatbands, or.
So if we want to tie something else into it, we can.
Okay.
What's that called? A water balloon at them? We can get
That's a lot of water balloons coming from all directions.
They have a bunch of balloons.
Be careful.
Yes. Right now it's Target.
Be careful what you wish for, Mr. Schneiderite.
stand on a cart.
Mr. Briner's like, wait a minute, this wasn't my idea.
Yeah, we can throw it back to them.
We will discuss
We'll come up with
the.
Have fun and use your imaginations.
Yes, go ahead, Kayla.
I was just asking, does the PTO have like a Venmo or a PayPal or something like that?
We
Like,
can-
I feel like you're really onto something that like you often don't have.
Yeah.
cash
Venmo
flow
and
for.
PayPal
Yeah.
don't allow nonprofits
Yeah.
to use their services. Since now, like I can accept Venmo and then I can put it in the PTO bank account, but if I get more than $600 in there, I get a nice visit from the IRS.
Yeah.
So I don't want to deal with that either.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is a PayPal for nonprofits option, and I can look into that. But this is really the only fundraiser that we have that we're doing on our own.
Yeah.
Almost all of our other fundraisers, we are partnering with a vendor, like Booster. They run it for us. We do Gertrude Hawk. We do a fundraising company.
I just feel like if the flyer says like you can send in money with your kid or you can just Venmo, like
Yeah.
it's really
Right.
good, but-
Yeah, we could probably. I could
Like, I
look
feel like
into
a lot of
like.
people just
And
block
it's
their phone
kind of
and, like,
pricey
send that
because-
I bet them all the time.
Yeah.
I know, but if you do the business option, it would add up very quickly.
Well, and the other thing is, for the business option, it
Yeah.
becomes complicated with our taxes because we're technically not
Yeah.
a business, we're a nonprofit, and Venmo does tax you.
Mhm.
So it.
Well, maybe if you send the flyer home earlier so parents can start putting the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
that works too.
I assume that most people have piles of or jars of loose change at home because I have like 5 of them.
Yeah, me too.
My kids also, a few years ago, I think it was Slatington, was collecting money for, I don't know, UNICEF or something, change for something. And my kids were actually like dumping the change out of their piggy banks. Like, because what do they use nickels, dimes, and pennies for? You know, like they were dumping that out and donating that themselves too, which was cute.
Venmo doesn't tax you.
No, but I'm not gonna deal with if you can't use Venmo for nonprofit, and I'm not using my own Venmo, so Venmo's out of
Yeah.
the equation. I'll look into PayPal for
I know
nonprofit.
Venmo charges business.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't know what else
Um,
you can sign up under.
PayPal for nonprofit. The other thing that we would have to consider is some people might be using a card linked to PayPal or Venmo rather than like a direct withdrawal from their bank account. Because I know for PayPal you can do both. Then you have to worry about
That
credit
answer
card
was to
processing
you,
fees.
Kat. Yeah, I don't know what
Hmm?
you
So,
said. That
which
answer was
range
to you
anywhere
for
from
Venmo.
like
Oh.
1 to 3% per transaction that Visa and MasterCard take from us. So if you send me $5, you know, for a nonprofit, Visa's gonna take between 1 and 3% of that off the top, and so we're not gonna get the full amount that you send us anyway.
I think we should just stick with, I know, like Kristen said, a lot of people don't carry cash, but I think it'd just be easier to just do the cash or the coins at this point.
Or a check, we'll take a check.
Or just write a check.
Yeah,
But I think like kind of the whole fun of this thing for the kids is the coin.
yeah.
So,
Right.
yes.
Just
So-
to visually see it each
Yeah.
day too.
Mhm.
And then you know, you brought your coins in, you get to dump your coins in the bucket today for your classroom and things like that's so I mean, Venmo is something that comes up in all of these nonprofit
Yeah.
groups
I'll
a
go to
lot.
the bank for coffee.
Unfortunately, there's just no like easy way to do it. Like no, Venmo doesn't directly tax you, but as soon as more than $600 go through your Venmo, you're now like responsible for reporting everything that goes through your Venmo to the IRS. And most of these smaller organizations, us included, have a pretty simple tax filing process. And this complicates it out the wazoo. So, but yes, we will look into if there's a nonprofit way to do this. 'Cause
Yeah.
Okay, so just keep an eye out for a flyer for Penny, whatever it'll be called, beginning of May.
for cheap.
May 11th is Nurse Appreciation Day. June 2nd is the tentative date for the 6th grade picnic. That is always held at the Skeet Club, and the PTO provides lunch, snacks, water, and eggs, and a dessert for them. It's a fun time for the 6th graders to have at the end of the year. It's like a moving up kind of field day for them alone. Like I said, it's tentatively June 2nd. And then tentatively is field day is June 6th and 7th. I did reach out to Gomberts, who we used in 2019. They actually got a new bounce house this year, which is amazing looking, and they are giving us an amazing price on it. So we did decide to use Gomberts again for our field day bounce house.
This thing's huge.
Yeah, it's like one of those
It's an
ones that's like,
Yeah.
what, 30, 40 feet long, and it's the obstacle one that you run through,
Oh,
so.
my kids loved that.
Yeah.
They had that,
If
for
anyone
anybody
did,
who did the balloon fest, they had it out for that. My daughter is gonna be 16 and Colin is 9, and they both, I mean, they were just having a
Yeah.
great time, the two of them, the whole time.
they also had it this summer, what was that called, Summer Blast? Was that
Yeah.
Horizons.
Open Horizons at their field day thing, and let me tell you, the teachers and grown-ups had a fun day at it,
We had more
so.
fun than the kids did.
Yeah. So I'm sure on field days, we will be seeing a couple of adults running through the noon bounce.
We don't need any volunteers for that, do
We
we?
don't need, no, but it's,
Okay.
that's all run by them. Am I missing anything? Let me just make sure. I'll open it to open discussion. I'll start with Katya,
I don't think I have anything.
Rebecca.
I have 2 things actually. One of the things that came up in our like executive session at the end of the meeting last month was students who would like to participate in an event but can't due to financial reasons, how would we, is there anything we can do about like sponsoring or having a fund set aside directly for those students? And we just decided as a board that we're not charging for events anymore. We had the ice cream social at the beginning of the year last year. We charged $1 per person. Not doing that anymore. Bingo, we still need, bingo is pretty inexpensive. It's $1 a board, $1 for the specials board. That one is kind of like, we're not really sure how we would handle that. Obviously, we can't have everybody coming in and doing free, maybe we could. I don't know. I have to think about that one. I have to think about it in my head. Peter's Dance, we've always charged for it in the past, just to help cover the cost of the photo,
And the
printer
DJ.
ink, and the DJ. That we don't have to charge for that next year. So the fundraising that we do helps keep it free so we can continue to do all of these events. It covers all the community events, but the fundraising also provides for every other during the school time activity that we just talked about, field day, the 6th grade picnic, teacher appreciation, all of those things. That's what we fundraise for. And if you enjoy coming to the events that we have for the community, we have to.
I just
continue.
add in, it also pays for the gifts from Santa, which are costly.
Yeah, we do. When we do the gifts from Santa, that's included. When I look at my budget, basically, when I look at like the income versus expenses, I don't expect any income from any of our things that we might charge. Like when we have snacks at bingo, we charge 50 cents or $1 for something. We don't expect to make money. Now, if we break even, that's cool. We're fine with breaking even. But it's important that we continue to fundraise because there's going to come a time where hopefully this never happens. You know, COVID, we got really lucky with the 2019-2020 school year because we did Booster for the first time that fall, and that fundraiser carried us through 2 years of events, basically. There's always a possibility that something like that could happen again, and we're not always going to be on the PTO board. We need to be able to have a setup in place for the next people who take over, group of people that take over, and having a solid budget and a solid bank account allows whoever comes in next after us to continue doing what they're doing without charging the community anything. Like field trips, that's a big thing. That is probably more than half of our budget because we pay for every single student to attend the field trip at no cost to the parents. And it also includes bus transportation. The school district does not pay for the buses to run to the field trip, which is a completely separate expense than the field trip itself. You know, we have to pay for mileage, and we pay for the bus driver's hours as well. So the last time we did field trips, transportation was $4,000 alone. That's it.
For one grade.
No,
For all,
for all 7 grades to go on a field trip, the last time we went on field trips, it was $4,000 just for transportation. Yeah, it was.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just
So,
saying that.
Yeah, it was $4,000 for transportation, and you add in all the costs of the individual field trips. Some grades are bigger than others. They're going to cost more than others. So we would like to continue doing this every year, and so we're going to continue fundraising as much as we can without overwhelming. I mean, I don't want to get overwhelmed with fundraising either. Nobody wants to just buy stuff. There's no pressure.
Well, the other thing is if we have a successful Boosterthon fundraiser or whatever our big fundraiser happens to be, we can scale back the amount of fundraising throughout the rest of the year.
Exactly. Yeah. And just from looking at it, we have Booster, we do Sweet fundraising, and we do Gertrude Hawk. Those we actually consider income, and we use what we bring in from those 3 fundraisers to basically fund the rest of the year. Holiday Shop, technically it's a fundraiser, but we don't expect to make any money on it. And then we had 2 Dine and Donates this year, which are just something extra. It's just a little bump, which is my goal for the Penny War. It's just a bump. It's just to help us. There might be a year where we don't do booster, and there goes $25,000. So then you were left with just the small ones that we've had.
Well, and previously, book bingos actually were considered part of our fundraising.
Right.
Oh, we also, I was, not to change the subject, but I was talking to Kim the other day, cause like you're just saying, like Booster is our huge profit
Yeah.
making, and I said to her, what did you do in the past without Booster? And she said in the past, Christmas shops was their big profit, and for right now, I feel like Christmas shops to us is not a profit, it's just
No.
for us to have.
I can
kids.
say when I came onto the board, one of the big things was looking for something like Booster Club because we were just getting by. We
Right.
barely could afford, like they were handing out, and I don't, again, I'm glad they could hand out, but they were giving out like a little keychain for Christmas and calling that their, like it was
Right.
$1 a student, and that's still a lot of money.
Right, but we have been
But
able
we
to
wanted to be able to
upgrade what
provide
we're given.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically if we did not do booster, we would just be skimming by to pay for everything that we've paid for so far this year and what we've put aside for the next year, and we would basically start off next year with 0.
Right.
So,
Our goal is also to be able to provide some extras.
yeah, like as much as we
Like,
can.
You know, if suddenly one year somebody comes, or the teachers or the principals or whatever come to us and say, oh, I don't know, we could really use like a whole new set of like floor hockey equipment for gym classes. We want to be able to accommodate those random requests that come in. Last year we were able to accommodate a lot of random stuff because we didn't have field trips to pay for.
Yep.
But now that field trips are back, that's also something that's to be kept in mind. Basically, if you guys enjoy what your kids are getting and you want it to stay at this level or get better, the fundraising is ridiculously important.
I think that's kind of what my point was. Yeah.
Right.
So we want to continue to do this. I would love to add more things. I have a couple ideas of things that we can do for next year that add more for the kids. So yeah, that was my thing on budget. Then my other thing, that was really long, I feel like. The other thing is communication with parents in our community. Right now we rely a lot on our flyers that we send home, and then also Facebook. I know we use Fans in the past. I don't know if that's something worth looking into again. I know that soccer.
So we didn't really have a great turnout with fans.
Yeah,
I
no.
feel- but okay,
Out
so
of, out of 900 students, I feel like even, giving siblings,
Mhm.
that
Maybe
you probably
five.
have at least 700 sets of parents there.
yeah.
We had maybe 25 people.
They
say-
don't have
Well,
any
I
of that.
feel like-
I don't even think it was
I think
that
it was
many,
10.
but I'm just
And we
saying,
even
it was
had that, we had the IQR
Mhm.
bar
Mhm.
on our flyer, so it wasn't
So-
like they had to go out of their way to find us. It was-
Right. So I have a couple not suggestions, but one, I've never heard of band before. Like, I mean, I was pretty new to like school apps and whatnot anyway. I'd never heard of it before. So it was completely unfamiliar to me. The second part is, I think soccer uses
NLYA
band.
soccer and boys basketball use bands.
So there are people in the community who, if their kids are involved in one of those two sports or both, they might be like, oh yeah, I have that app. Plus, because of COVID, all of us have Class Dojo now. Teachers used Remind last year. Those two options are not available to us because they are designed specifically for schools, and as a separate organization, we couldn't use it, and we can't piggyback off the schools either. So I think it might be worth it to either look into band again, or there's another app called, it's not an app, but it can be used both ways. It's called GroupMe, and it is just a collaborative
Wrestling-
effort.
Wrestling used that one year,
Yeah.
and it was horrific.
Really?
Now this was probably 3 years ago, so I don't know. Like everybody kind of upgraded their technology with COVID and stuff. But at that time, I mean, I've used a lot of apps for my kids' organizations, and this one was just like absolutely not user friendly. Notifications didn't come through, random things. It worked similar to Remind, and you would get a text message. But then only certain people were getting the text messages, even though everybody had the stuff. It was not very successful.
It was very awful.
It was horrible.
It was a couple, yeah.
Because I use it now, my school cohort uses it,
Mhm.
and it works
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
It was very highly recommended on like the PTO, like the National PTO Facebook group, for organizations that can't use Class Dojo or Remind.
I've used it before as well.
to use-
It's been
It's really easy to use, it's easy to add people.
And I think
I
there's
use it.
there's
Okay, then they must have upgraded things
Yeah.
because it was a nightmare.
yeah.
I
I feel
also
like
think it might be helpful, like, anyone in the group can add someone, so like a parent could like add their friend and be like, hey, come join this PTO group.
it might be worth looking into just
Does
for
this group need have a limited number of?
No. And I don't think you have to download an app. Like you can use just like a browser with an account and still get all of the same level of participation. It also allows for voting via polls. So I think that would be really good. We don't, because we want to get the community as involved as we can, voting and coming up with discussions and, voting on the things that we spend our fundraising money on. Having that poll option just available to everybody could be helpful. So
I
would
will
like to
say
look
we
into
get
those too.
we get an awful lot of coverage from our Twitter posts because our wonderful principals and even Mr. Link through the school board will retweet the Twitter posts. The struggle with Twitter is that it's not necessarily linked to our Facebook page that has all the events and all the things. So people see the information, but there's less general communication that happens through Twitter. So maybe getting like more sharing of things out on Facebook as well would also be helpful.
I don't know if I'm like super in the minority, I didn't even know you had a Facebook.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's common.
Me neither.
Me neither.
I didn't tell you.
Okay,
Sorry.
we have a Facebook.
So we have a
So I
Facebook.
feel like there's probably a lot of parents who aren't even aware
Yeah.
that like.
So I do typically when we have posts, Rebecca and I really try to share them on all the local Facebook groups as well. So like there's a Slatington Mom Squad group, there's a Northern Lehigh in the Know group. So we're sharing like as members of those groups, we're sharing those posts into those groups. But
I can say though, after you share for so long, like I can't speak for Slatington Mom Squad because everything comes to mind, but it kind of goes to a spam. Like I don't get that you guys are posting on Northern Lehigh and the Know anymore.
I don't even
I've
get the
also
notifications
noticed
that Northern Lehigh in the Know has a new post.
Right, I also noticed that because my church does it, and we were
Yeah.
talking, and I was like, wait, you're still posting in those groups, like in the beginning. But once you start to become a frequent poster in those groups, Facebook kind of marks you as spam now.
Well, the other thing I've noticed in general with Facebook groups, ever since like the transition to whatever that meta thing is I don't see group notifications for anything anymore.
Yeah, you have to have them turned on.
Oh, they're turned on. They just don't come up in my newsfeed. Like nothing.
But if Rebecca's posting numerous times through that, and your Facebook notices that, it will automatically mark it as spam, so you don't have to continue to see Rebecca posting the same shares.
Right.
And there's people in the community who don't use Facebook.
Right.
There is
That's why flyers still go home.
That's why.
Well, and
flyers still
that's
come home.
also why we started the Twitter account. I'm not sure how successful that is either.
I don't think anybody's on Twitter.
Is it on your flyers?
Yeah.
I don't know where people would find that information, like I'm not in
I'm pretty
any
sure it's on
place.
our flyer,
No.
isn't it?
Probably a large
Not
amount
It used
of
to be.
parents who
Not
aren't
on
in
all
any
of
of those
them.
groups.
No, we could probably. I can start.
That would be
adding that.
helpful if at the bottom,
Yeah.
if you had like a footer that said,
Yeah.
like, find us at.
That would work.
I know it's in the sign up flyer
No, $30 on Twitter.
that we give out at the beginning of the year because it has our website. It has we also have a website.
Some of them are right here.
I know.
Yeah.
It's silly.
I can think of one family off the top of my head. She has 4 children, and she still has 2 that need to come through the system. She doesn't use any social media at all. She doesn't use Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, nothing. So the only way she has of communicating or getting information is through the flyer.
Yeah.
So we can. I'll
I
definitely
have my flyers. My son's irresponsible.
So I will.
Oh
I
yeah.
will definitely start adding our contact information on the flyers. I think that's probably the best way. Our phone number, or not a phone number, our email address, and our Facebook, like our ad.
Even people that don't use Facebook, like I don't really use it, like I have one, but I don't use it. But I could go in and like find you guys and like read what's going on.
So I'll work on that, making sure that like the contact information and the Facebook handle is there, and Twitter handle. Because there are some people who don't use Facebook anymore at all. They just use Instagram or Twitter or something like that.
So yeah, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, and we have a website.
Yeah.
That I don't think anybody knows about either.
So, but
I do go home at the beginning of the year though on a flyer.
yes, in the beginning of the year, they all go home on a flyer.
But it also,
but-
I feel like, I can say for, alright, I'm on the board, so I do throw a lot of the papers away because I know. But I also can say, from having Nevaeh before I was as involved, those papers were like the ones that I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to deal with that right now. These
Yeah.
have to go back. And then I find them at like Christmas time when I'm trying
So
to like
maybe you should send them a
declutter.
week after they send all their medical papers.
So maybe
Yeah, too many papers at the
sending
beginning
something
is
like
weird.
And
a
you just
week,
worry,
yeah,
if you
like
got
in-
multiple
I just sort
kids,
of like this one I can throw away, this one I need to sign.
and if you have
Right.
multiple kids
Yeah.
doing the paperwork, that PTO stuff ends up, like she says,
we do get
buried.
duplicates.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we should send the PTO stuff home the second week of school.
Yeah, that's what I think. Give the parents a break from the paperwork they send us.
That would work too.
And make it a nice little PTO packet.
So Use on the second week, so.
Alright, that was all I had. I'm done.
Alright, well, I'm gonna start with a Facebook comment. For volunteers, could we use Sign Up Genius? Sometimes I want to help out, but I'm not sure exactly what you need help with, or not sure if it's something I can commit to. Like, they want us to assign, she wants us to assign specific jobs and time slots. I like this idea, except I don't always know. I know for me, when I'm planning an event, I might put Rebecca here because I feel like that would be the best spot. But now, because someone else volunteered, they might make a better person for that spot, and I have to move that volunteer. So I feel like that might get a little messy if someone's signing up and says, because everybody wants to do the raffle tickets or the front door or nobody wants to do the stuff that like works them. So I feel like, yeah, we'd still be in the same boat. And like I said, I try to fit if you message me, like for science night, the lady who messaged me, she was very nice. She asked me what we needed. I explained each job that I had open that I knew I could put her at. And then she was like, okay, well, I work anyway. I'm sure, in my opinion, how I took it, and it was, she probably didn't work. She just didn't want to volunteer because she didn't like what I had to offer. But if I had said maybe what my usual thing is, like, well, I'm not really sure what I will need you at yet. These are the available jobs. It's a sitting or standing job. That's pretty much the only I can give them.
So, I mean, I'm not completely against letting people know what they would be volunteering for certain events. I think it can be easier for certain events, and more difficult for other events. Like, for example, Fall Fest. I absolutely cannot tell you what event, like, I specifically need people for, because it really boils down to who is coming, and then some parents have a disability that they don't necessarily let you know about, that you need to accommodate for, and we gladly accommodate for that. But if there's only one position for something that is seated, and I post that on Sign Up Genius, and some completely able-bodied person has now taken that position, then we need to figure out what to do with other people. However, time slots I think is excellent. It's also something that we have.
I'd be totally open for time slots, I just feel
I
like
think if you're
positions-
volunteering, you shouldn't have an issue of what you're doing.
I agree.
If you
Well,
totally are
at
volunteering your
Science Night, I
time,
had a volunteer there who I know her personally, but I know she could not have stood the whole time. I would never have given her the monitoring
right, so I
job.
don't think that's why you should do Sign Up Genius, because you don't know.
Right.
Personally, I think if you volunteer, you should do whatever job's available, unless you're physically incapable. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I'm all for the time slots. I
But
think
for
that would help us
specific
great.
jobs,
Right.
I agree, I don't think it's gonna work.
Well,
for-
I think that would work for your Christmas store, to make sure you have the time slots.
Right.
Because it's exactly what was on your paper, standing in there looking at who was
Yes.
coming in. I think that would work for the store.
Amber
But for
would hate
space
that. She
night
likes that.
or bingo,
Black
I
and
don't
white,
think that
handwritten.
works.
No, but we could still do a sign up. I mean, for bingo, it's a 2-hour event. You're just committing to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, if
Wherever
you can
need
commit,
it.
you can commit. The
I
other
think
thing is,
bingo's the hardest to use because we kind of just depend on ourselves. We don't
Right.
really need volunteers. Like having 1 or 2 extra people to man the
Yeah. well, and
snacks.
having the high school girls there was ideal.
Yeah.
They did a great job. They were completely able to, work the cash box, and it gave parents that typically would volunteer the opportunity to just have fun at bingo with their kids. And I realize that this is a struggle too, is that, you want to take your kids to bingo, you want to have a good time. So that's one of the reasons we don't typically have a lot of volunteers for that. But we can definitely work on just doing a Sign Up Genius for the entire time for things, not with specific jobs, but to say, hey, we need 5 volunteers for this event. You
At
need
this
to arrive
time.
at this time and you leave at this time.
Yeah.
They have common events. Some people can't do all jobs, and personally, I don't want to handle groups of other people's children. I just get nervous about it. I feel like that would be something you have to specifically message us and tell us. Like,
was the
again, sorry. Some people can't do all jobs, and personally, I don't want to handle groups of other people's children. I mean, if you're volunteering for the PTO, you're going to be working with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
can't-
99% of what we need volunteers for involves children
Yeah.
and groups, because we're looking at elementary schools.
I think the difference
But-
could be for example, for the Christmas shops. You don't want to be the person who walks around with a child, but you're certainly 100% ready to sit there and rap.
Yes.
That I understand.
Right.
That's a little easier though, I feel.
Right, so-
Because we have multiple.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So I feel
But
like
when we
even
have-
there, we ask,
yeah, but
like,
when we
which
have
one are you comfortable with? And
so
we
maybe what we need to do is do a better job of letting people know what types of jobs we will have.
yeah.
Well,
Not
I-
necessarily
I
saying,
agree.
we're guaranteeing everyone a certain job, but to say, like, we're having our Christmas shops. As in previous years, we're going to need people to assist students with shopping, people to help with wrapping, people to help with setup. That's another one. Like, we had several parents help with our setup of Christmas shops this year that didn't involve kids at all.
Yeah.
They were there the day before and they helped us set up. So I think we can do a better job of being more descriptive of what types of things we're going to be having. The other thing is we tend to know a lot of you in the community and things, and if we also like to have new people or younger volunteers paired up with somebody that we know and trust who's experienced in things. So it's difficult for us to say, everyone pick exactly what you want to do versus, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for anyone who has volunteered, when we have something where you all show up at once, we discuss, does anyone have a preference? Would anyone like to work with anyone else? Like, we do try to really accommodate that, but we also don't want anyone new, or especially our high school kids that help us out, to feel uncomfortable or insecure, because we want them to come back. Like, we want everyone to have a good time. So,
I think just from like a really outsider perspective, just the prospect of volunteering, for me at least, was like really intimidating. Like when you first asked me, I was like, I don't really even know what a PTO does, and I don't know how to volunteer. I don't know how to do PTO things. So like they're not even gonna want me to volunteer.
But did you have fun?
I don't know if there's
Yeah.
a way to like communicate that like you don't need to have experience, or you don't need to, like, if you're interested in volunteering, like
Right,
I don't
no,
know how to
you're
communicate
not
that,
wrong.
but, like, I felt like it would be scary, or like you guys would like.
Yeah, I was kind of scared the first time I volunteered too.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know what I was getting into. I didn't know anybody. I think I knew Kristen, and that was it. And I only knew her because she had coached my kid for soccer. Like, I didn't know anybody else. And yeah, it was intimidating to walk in and not know anyone and not know what to do.
So
But
I don't know, like when you're.
But now I'm here.
Walked in and I was like, we
Say,
need you
like,
on the
Or
board.
experience, or like we're happy to accommodate
Right.
your schedule, or
Yeah.
like, because I feel like it's intimidating being like, oh, I don't know if I can do the whole day, or they
Yeah.
get mad.
I think we can do a better job of clarifying what types of things we need and what your responsibilities could potentially be. And I do think I like Sign Up Genius as an option. It actually gets really complicated when you're running an event that you need multiple volunteers for, and some people message us through Facebook and some people email us. Then I've got people texting me because they just know me personally and have my number. Then I'm getting text messages from other board members going, hey, so-and-so texted me that they can do this. So it gets confusing and complicated because you're getting information from all angles. I do like the idea of having Sign Up Genius options.
I still think
For
we're
it?
gonna get all angles. I think that's
It's-
inevitable only because, okay, I don't know two of these people in the room. I don't know who invited them or how, like, they decided to join us this month.
that was me.
Okay? They are not gonna feel comfortable coming to me because they don't know me.
Right, but if somebody texts me and says, "Hey, I wanna volunteer for the holiday shops," instead of me texting Amber and being like, "Hey, so and so wants to volunteer. What are the time slots you have available?" Yada yada. I can just text them back the link to the Sign Up Genius for that event and be like, "Here's the link to sign up. Let me know if you have any other questions." So that the person running the event has all their signups in one place.
I have an idea that will address the last 30 minutes of discussion. I don't think it's worthy of bringing up now, but I think we'll be able to do it.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you about it.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Anything else, Kristen?
I read my
This
comments.
is like the longest meeting ever.
I know. We
Ellie would also like to volunteer
I've
to
read
do
that.
the balloon art.
Do you have any?
Ellie would like to help me blow up balloons. That is excellent.
It was the water.
Yes,
It was the
Ellie,
water that
Katya
we-
will.
Oh yeah, the water was the
That's why
problem.
we were gonna scratch it.
Yeah, the water was the
Yeah,
problem.
The water is where we mixed it.
I mean, does anyone have a portable water tank
I mean, just get a 5-gallon bucket with a lid on it
and a funnel and a?
I don't know.
Oh.
I was so confused by that.
Yeah, if it's a balloon arch, what's the one?
So
basically
there's
holds
two giant water bags that hold the arch in place. There are spikes instead of water bags.
Oh, are there? Did they come with the thing?
Yes, and I do have tents. Let's do the balloon.
You're back on for the balloon.
I know. I'm back on for the balloon arch. I forgot it came with spikes. Let's do balloons.
Jugs of water if I shrunk. Okay, Ellie and Katya are in charge of balloon art.
Awesome. Autumn, are you helping us blow up balloons again? You were so awesome at that.
I'll be there.
You can use sand too.
Oh, sand might be something we would never, but it would be heavy. We'd have to
Yeah.
carry those heavy things around.
Yeah, and-
Water would be.
I think the spikes will be okay.
At this point, I have nothing else either. Anyone who joined us today, would you like to voice any concerns, questions, problems, ideas? Probably.
I know.
And this
I'm out through the whole thing, so I'm
I think that's it then, right?
That is it. Yes.
They have plenty of time, I feel like, for open discussion, so I don't see the point.
Meeting adjourned.
We're
at
sorry.
10:50. No,
Yeah.
10:55?
Yes, we're sorry we went a little over today, but I feel like our under meetings balance it out.
Yeah.
I'm sure it can be done, but what? Okay, Ellie, Katya's gonna contact you.
Yes, I'm contacting you. We're back on. There might be a lag.
Yeah, there is a lag for sure.
There's always a lag.
I'm back on.
Okay.
We're balloon arching.
Should I end this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye,
goodbye
everybody.
out there.